Man, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I'm really looking forward to today's conversation. You know, you're a very extensive individual. You're very accomplished in multiple fields, from entertainment to real estate. Did some research on it. You own your own company, Rapid Revenue Tax Service. You own your own publishing company, Aunt Samuel Publishing. You're a co-owner in AR Written Entertainment. You're an actor, writer, and producer. If that wasn't enough, you're also a real estate agent, man.
Correct.
Good to have you here today, man.
I'm glad to
How
be
you
here.
feel?
I feel good. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Ready. I'm ready.
I feel that, man.
I think.
All right, we're gonna touch all of that, obviously, all of the accomplishments, man. But take me back to your early life, man. What was your childhood like growing up?
Childhood was different. I had both parents in the home. Growing up as the baby of my siblings, they're 53 and 52, and then me come.
Wow.
It's 16-year difference.
Yeah.
So, by the time I got here, I ain't go to Cedar Point and Disneyland. They had gave up. They like, we did all of that. So it was interesting growing up, having the older parents, but I'm grateful because it taught me so much more that we don't have now.
Like what?
Having, the older background, teach you manners, open the door for women and how our parents cooked in the kitchen, home, gardens and how to do things of that nature. Now it's just more so of eating out or people making hamburger helper,
Yeah. Man, I feel it. Did you play any sports?
I played basketball probably in like the 6th grade, but I gave it up.
Yeah.
I was ready, excited, but I was nervous. We went to the first game, and I was, going down. I was ready. I was like, my team finna win. I'm like excited. We practiced. Man, I done went to the wrong way and scored for the other team. So after that,
no way. In middle school?
Yeah, I left it alone.
that
They
must
was
have been
mad at me.
crazy.
So after that, I was like, I'm ready to leave school. And I'm like, Daddy, I don't want to go to school no more.
Yeah.
But yeah, I played basketball. Yeah.
Man, did that teach you anything that you kind of still use to this day? I know sports is like huge, has a huge impact most of the time on, being young and what they teach you.
Yeah, pay attention and don't go the wrong way. 'Cause, bro, it's just embarrassing. It was embarrassing, but it taught me just don't go the wrong way. Pay attention.
Yeah, I can't lie. I'm actually glad you said that. You said that was 6th grade, right?
Yeah, 6th grade.
I did the very exact same thing when I was in 2nd grade. I never touched a basketball again until high school when I got my confidence back. Oh, man, it's a terrible moment.
It's something to tear you up, especially as a man. It's like, it just make you feel like, dang, I done fumbled the ball.
For you, for me, it was like, I don't want to say it was like anxiety, like kind of anxiety being like on the court and like, being in the moment and trying to do the best I can. But I feel like it had a lot to do with anxiety. Was it the same way for you?
Yeah, it was anxiety because it's like when you're in practice, you ready, you with your teammates. But when you're in front of everybody, that anxiety kick in. It's like, man, you got to pass the ball. You got to go down the court, make the court. Can I dunk? It's, man.
Did you get off a rebound or was it an inbounds pass?
No, it was inbounds. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm like,
man.
And they finally gave me the ball. That made. I'm like, oh man. I'm doing something. When they scored, I'm like, I said, why everybody yelling at me? And then I messed up. I'm like, bro.
I can't lie to you. I thought I was the only one in the world that did that.
Me too.
I was like, I'm gonna die with it. I was
like,
I'm gonna die with that story. I'm really glad you said that, man.
Yeah, I don't tell nobody that. So I told you.
But yeah, man. So also being the youngest, that's something I can also relate to, man. How was that experience? I mean, did you feel like you had a lot of pressure on you, being that you were 16 years apart from your older sibling?
To be honest, I just thought I was adopted or I was my sibling's child, and they just covered it up, to be honest. But after realizing that was God's way of bringing me here, because I lost my dad almost 3 years ago. So it brought me to be I always been the youngest but the oldest. So I always lead my family, make sure they're good. So I came at the right time, because now I can hold the family and mold us together. So it's mostly different.
I feel that, man. I lost my dad too. That was 2021. Let's say 2021 in June. It was
June. Man, it was June too.
Really?
June 18th.
Man, it was crazy. It was one of the weirdest of experiences, man. I don't think a lot of people can relate to what it's like losing a parent. That was the first time when people are kind of coming to you, they tell you, I'm sorry, and it has no effect. Zero effect, man. But yeah, how did you handle that experience, or how have you handled that experience moving forward?
Well, handling that, like you said, it's very hard to handle it. You just don't have the words to actually say, but to actually handle it, I had to put God first, honestly, because that's the only way you get through. Like you said, the calls, the texts, all of that ends after the funeral.
Facts.
Especially losing a male figure. They're not perfect, but losing a father, you feel lost. So to handle it, I'm like, okay, I have my mom, I got to keep going. I have a family, I got to keep going. Then especially when you're an entrepreneur, you don't know if you're coming or going, so you have to keep going. So I just prayed and just kept going. And probably like 2023 is the year actually hit me. You know, because you just keep going, you stay busy.
Talk about that,
I stayed busy. I released the film in 2021.
Congrats.
And then
what was the name of the film, by the way?
Hear My Cries, the movie.
Wow.
It's on Tubi, so.
Nice.
You know, released that, and it's just like I was just existing. And I didn't realize it. You're just here. And a lot of people don't understand losing a parent or losing somebody you love, because grieving, it has no expiration date.
Yeah.
So you just grieve and grieve and grieve, and I found myself in 2023 just existing. That's what I was doing, just existing.
Wow.
I just took a break from everything. You don't know it. Yeah. I didn't know I was just in that place, but I was really just here. You know what I'm saying? Just hanging out, just spending money till you actually sit down and be like, hey, I'm hanging out a lot. I'm not, focused on my goals. I'm losing myself. So,
man, that's interesting. It sounds to me like you slowed down.
Yeah. Slowed down, yeah.
Wow.
Because I was ready. I was taking off. And even, when I was losing them, I was still going. Didn't take any breaks. You just kept going. But, slowed me down.
Man, I gotta say, dude, that's a lot, man. So I can relate to that. It didn't hit me 2 years after. It hit me a few months after, and that was something that I eventually came to the realization of. Okay, I gotta slow down about a year after that. But there was so much time of exactly that feeling where you feel like you're just existing,
right.
And it's such a different place. You go through so many seasons in life, obviously, but that is a season, man, I probably would never forget.
Yeah, you never
truthfully.
Forget that one. Nope.
But yeah, man. So take me back to the beginning. I know you said you lost your dad. That was more recent than anything. But going back to the childhood, man, was there anything that happened that made an impression on you?
Yeah, my teachers, they played major parts in my life. I was I always knew that I'd be an entrepreneur. I always knew that, but I always was like mischievous. I would be on honor roll and get in a fight. I would always do stuff, and to this day, I still have a teacher, Valerie Bates, and we're really close. That was my second grade teacher. She was an inspiration to me. Yeah. She made sure I stayed in the right path and not go with the wrong people, Even then, growing up with older parents, I'm like, hey, I feel like this is what they're teaching me. It's the right way. I want the Jordans. I want to do this in school. I want to hang out. But I had a lot of older people that steered me in the right direction to lead to where I am today.
Wow, man, that's interesting. Impact, How do you feel about teaching? They get a lot of rap, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like when you have the right ones, it can leave a long-lasting impression. Yeah,
when you have the right ones, you can have a long-lasting impression. Even today, you can learn from, somebody on the streets. You can learn from a drug dealer. You can learn from, somebody been to prison. Every day I feel like I want to learn. Every day I'm open to learning. Yeah. But a lot of teachers will have an impact because there are some that care and then some for the paycheck. Yeah. But you'll know the difference.
Facts.
But you have to want it. You know what I'm saying? You can't put it all in somebody else's basket and say, hey, I'm not getting nothing from it. You have to always want something and learn something from it. So.
Yeah. Talk about that, man. I know you said you felt like you knew you were always going to be an entrepreneur, man. Who were some of your inspirations, and what gave you that feeling of I need to own a business? Well, or be an entrepreneur.
Watching my father grow up and my mother, they're both retired. So watching my father go to the plant daily, most of my family and uncles went to GM and retired. Just to see that lifestyle of working and just to pay the bills and trying to save, it just taught me like, hey, being African American can be more. Yeah. So I'm like, hey, it got to be a different way, a different avenue to teach other people. But first, starting with me, that I can do this. Yeah. So watching them work jobs, I worked in and out jobs. My first job was I think Taco Bell. And then Larry's Soul Food in Pontiac, but it's closed. Yeah. I was hustling, busting tables.
Right, right.
I would get my clothes that I had, I would go put them on our porch. Like we have a porch with windows. So I had the kids come over. I hang them up like a little store and sell the clothes. Yeah. And make a little money and save it. And I'll have my mom bake goods, and I sit on the corner and sell desserts and put the money up, buy me bikes and stuff. So I always had the entrepreneur mindset and knew that I wanted something different. I didn't want to just work and retire or work and die. Yeah. So the entrepreneur spirit ignited in me when I was younger. And still to this day, I'm an entrepreneur. I haven't worked in 11 years.
Yeah.
Just with myself, yeah.
Man, that's awesome.
That's definitely awesome. Not easy, though, but
it's definitely a grind, man. What gave you that courage? Because especially in family, when it sounds to me like you were one of the first that really pioneered it for your family, like you had to go through. What gave you that courage of like, yeah, I can do it?
God and faith.
Yeah.
It was something I just had to see without seeing it.
Yeah.
And ever since then, you plant the seeds and you just grow, because it's like, they depend on you.
Right.
Out of each family, we have some people say, hey, I'm going to be the first billionaire, or I am.
Yeah.
But people don't put in the work. You have to put in the work because there's always somebody depending on you.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm like, hey, I want to be the first one in my family to be able, everybody's good. Let me pay your house off. Let me pay your car off. Let me buy you a car.
Yeah.
So that inspires me to be able to help other people, because everybody's mindset is different.
Yeah.
Everybody's working a job or 2 or 3 jobs trying to maintain.
Yeah.
When you like, dang, I see the light.
Yeah.
If I got one idea, or if I just go hard at this, or put 100% in here, then trying to work and do this, you can do it. And ever since then, I've been pushing to do it.
Yeah. Why do you feel like more people don't kind of have that?
The what, entrepreneur spirit?
Not just that entrepreneur spirit, but that like I can do it feelings. I feel like a lot of people, especially nowadays, entrepreneurship is such a buzzword,
right?
But a lot of people still don't kind of take that leap of faith. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of people are scared. Scared money don't make money. You have to step out there and actually do it. A lot of people talk a good game, but they're not about it. And that's what I feel a lot of people are today. Because like you said, the word is so loosely. Oh, I own a business. I'm an entrepreneur. But a lot of people fail to put in the proper work. And the first step is writing the vision, making it plain, writing it down, and seeing eye to eye and day to day what you want to do.
Yeah.
A lot of people, if you don't have your friends or family that don't have the mindset as you or the vision, they get discouraged. They don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So a lot of people back up like, hey, it's too hard, or I'm going to give up. Working a job is hard.
Yeah.
You got to pick which hard you want to do. You got to report every day, 9 to 5 or midnights or whatever. That's hard, but they get comfortable and complacent because they're getting a paycheck.
Yeah.
When it's entrepreneur, your mindset is saying you're doing it, but when they see you might get 20,000 1 week, and then 3 months you don't get nothing. A lot of people are like, no, I can't do it.
Yeah.
They quit.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. I can definitely relate to that. I got to say, man, just in hearing what you just said when you talked about writing the vision down, it's definitely something they talk about in the Bible.
Yeah, definitely.
Is that something that is church, God, religion, faith? Has that been a crucial part of your life since early on? Did you go to the church growing up? Were you in the church? Did you serve at the church?
Yeah, I went to the church younger. I was in the choir. I don't know how I was in it. I was in the choir younger. I enjoyed going to church. It was something I liked to do. I don't know the Bible, the whole Bible, but I read the Bible, and today I stand on it because a lot of stuff in the Bible teaches about life.
Yeah.
And putting God in faith is important.
Yeah.
You see a big difference than just living life just like, hey, I'm just doing this, or the universe sent this. You got to serve somebody, a higher power, or something you don't see. That's what I do, and faith is a big part of who I am.
Yeah, I feel that. You said today I stand on it, so I'm assuming
standing on it today, yeah.
Previous to this time period where you kind of like, I don't really want people to know that this is like, a background for me, or this is something I truly believe in.
I've done that before, but after a while, I was just like, forget it. You have to teach people and show them where it really comes from, because you can't do it on your own.
Yeah.
So, yeah, faith is big.
When did that point come for you where you were like, it is what it is? You know.
When I left Beaumont, I left my job. I was
really?
like, I was doing taxes for about probably 10 years before I actually left. I was doing patient care tech. I'm just like, I'm too talented to be here. And like I tell you, every job I find something wrong with. I'm like, it can't just be me. And I'm like, God, I was looking out a window, and I'm like, if you get me out of here, I'm going to do everything and hustle so I ain't got to come back to another job.
Yeah.
And I hustled, and everything worked out for me to leave the job, and I ain't been back since Beaumont. Yep.
That's powerful, man. So being at Beaumont, what did being a patient care tech teach you about serving people?
It taught me a lot.
Yeah.
You see, I had to take a breath on that one. It taught me a lot.
Yeah.
It taught me you deal with a variety of people. You deal with a lot of people. You deal with people that root for you. You deal with people that don't. You deal with racist people. You deal with people that's for you. You deal with a lot of people, but at the end of the day, you can't let them people change you.
Yeah.
So I kept, my integrity. I kept doing what I was doing, but I just knew that I learned what I needed to learn then, like take care of my father and mother and family for what has happened and transpired. I learned at an early age. That's something I needed, instilled in me.
Yeah.
Until now, but yeah, they taught me.
Wow, man, that's interesting. I'm sure you got some crazy experiences, some crazy stories, man. If you don't want to share, I'm completely fine with that. But do you mind sharing a couple of stories that kind of, because it sounds to me like it humbled you being there.
It did.
Yeah.
So, it was a humbling experience. I worked with some different type of people, and some were cool and some was just a pain. But
wow.
They taught me, to stand your ground, just stand strong. Even the patience. You deal with a lot of people, and a lot of them taught me to not enable yourself.
Yeah.
Like you'll get some clients, patients in there that want you to do it all. They want a handout, and it taught me about life. Like we always looking for somebody to give us something. But we're not willing to put in the work to get it ourselves.
Yeah.
We always looking for the key, but we are the key. So they taught me some strong foundational keys that I needed now, because a lot of them, like I said, they'll be there and say, hey, they'll put a call light on, I need this, I need that. But I'm like, hey, if I wasn't here or you get sent home today, what call light do you have? You have to try to at least get up and walk or do whatever you need to do. And it taught me about faith. If I didn't walk and see it before I seen it, I'll still be there. If I was still there and say, hey, God, you'll do it one day, and I'm not putting in the work, I'm not writing a vision, I'm not making a plan, I'm not saving, I'll still be there. Because I was comfortable with getting a check.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the patience, but I was comfortable with the check that I was getting. So I'm like, okay. But then when you look at what you're getting paid, it's not what you're worth.
Facts.
You can get paid something, they take it to taxes and insurance. At the end of the day, you got whatever you left. You're paying rent, car note, whatever you have. Then boom, you got to wait 2 more weeks.
Yeah.
We wasn't sitting here just to pay bills and die.
Facts.
We got to make more money. But if you're in the establishment helping somebody else dreams come true, then when do you put the necessary time to make yours come true? Especially us as African Americans, we're lazy.
Yeah.
We're lazy.
Absolutely.
Because if we don't see it happen right now, instantly, we give up.
Instant gratification.
Yeah.
It's killer of so many
another
people.
thing is just, a lot of us depend on our friends and family to support us. Those going to be the least of your support. You might get 1 or 2.
Yeah.
But your bigger crowd is those you don't know.
Yeah.
But we scared to step out, so.
Did that affect you? Is that something you had to learn too as well? Like,
I said, y'all gonna either support or y'all I'm gonna get this money. I got to do
right.
Even though you get some that won't support, or you gonna get 10 no's before you get a yes. But no, I was always determined, with or without them.
Yeah, I feel that, man. I'm sure being at Beaumont, because I know you said you had an entrepreneur spirit, man. I've seen so many getting a paycheck can sometimes turn that spirit. Turn the flame of your spirit off real fast. Is that something that kind of happened to you? Were you still thinking I'm gonna be an entrepreneur, or were you kind of in this void of like I can do it, but I'm real comfortable?
Yeah, I was there where I was like I can do it and I'm comfortable. I was getting a check. I was making money on the side. I was breeding dogs and making good money, and I was doing taxes on the side 3 months out the year. But I was still going for the check. It was 3 12s a week.
Yeah. So
that money was good, and I'm like, hey. But I felt like, seeing the patients pass and die and, come back to life, fighting back and forth, it taught me like, hey, you stay here, you're not going to never leave.
Yeah.
You have to step out on faith in order to grow. But if you stay there, I was going to still be there.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, man, you also worked at the National City Bank during the financial crash, if I'm not mistaken, back in 2008, man. Talk about that experience.
That was different, too. That was different. It was good money. It was a lot of money.
Yeah.
You have to be disciplined with all that money. Like, it taught me morals and value as well. It taught you how to deal with money, how to save money, how to budget. Because, you dealing with different people account. You see them from your people.
Yeah.
You see us like you got $20 a Friday, you got $100, but you see these people like you like, okay, they saving. And it taught me like, hey, you got to put money up. You got to save. And that's why I learned about a savings account.
Really?
Because a lot of times, I seen my parents save, but it wasn't money like, enough to survive off of. They can put up after they pay bills what they had. You know what I'm saying? So they taught me there like, hey, this is what you can have. And you would be surprised at the people that walked in. They came in and you wouldn't even know they had money. Really? They had on jeans from Costco and the same sweater. Yeah. And they had money. They'd come in and get $20 a day or stuff like that. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and isn't that the craziest thing though?
Yeah.
It teaches you a lot about life, man. I never forget my coach from Jersey came here in Michigan. We were at a hotel just chopping it up, and I remember I was driving him back to the hotel, and I was like, man, like nobody would know who you are.
You're right.
And you stay completely humble. You stay completely, I'm like people that has just walked, that I've seen walk past you have no idea that, you know what I'm saying, you are who you are. But man, I'll ask you, because it seemed like there was a lot of life experience that took place at the National City Bank, if I'm not mistaken. Talk about some of those financial, because you say when you make a lot of money, you also got to put a lot of money up, and you kind of got to money manage better. Was that something you were kind of going through at that time? Was that something you saw people going through at that time?
Yeah, at that time I was actually working 2 jobs. I was there in comfort care at night.
Really?
I wanted to be grown early, so I rushed out, had an apartment, rent started kicking my butt, and I'm like, all right. Then I had, a Hummer. So I had things I had to play. I was responsible. Yeah. So, I was in the mindset, like, I want what I want. So me doing that, and at an early age, I was working and receiving a paycheck, but my assets, I had to put out more money than I was making. Car note, rent, at a young age, but I was responsible. Yeah. So it taught me that, hey, you can pay that car note or it'll be gone tomorrow or you'll be gone tomorrow, but what do you have saved up? Because I was in the mindset of, hey, I'm working to, live. So I paid what I learned from my parents. Okay, I'm going to pay the car note, insurance, rent. Then I looked like one day the light went on, like, what you putting up, though? You spending for now, what you putting up for the future? Yeah. So it taught me, to save money and to be more responsible.
Yeah. What's some money management tips you learned during that time period? Was it a budget that you were on, that you put yourself on?
Yeah, I taught myself budgeting. So, like, I get a credit card, and I use it just for gas. Gas or maybe the light bill, and pay it off every month, and then the limit will increase. So each time I got a paycheck and the taxes came out, I would put a certain amount up in a savings account and don't touch it. Then out of the next check, once the bills are due, I'll take whatever I had and put it in a safe deposit box. So I have money in different areas than just seeing it in an account, because that debit card is the devil. Yeah. You just slide it. You can have $10,000 in there, but by the time you slide the card, you buying water, drinks, it's gone. Yeah. So it taught me, to build up the money and loans. That's where I got my first loan. Or 2, I just got a private loan. So I put the money, a portion of it, like $2,500 in the account. Yeah. And just let it pay itself back. And then the other $25, I started investing in me. I did phlebotomy classes, CNA classes. I did a lot of other classes that enhanced me. Yeah. Use with the money. And when I started making money, I paid it back. So it just taught me responsibility.
Wow, man, that's interesting. That's very, very interesting, man. Talk about that. You said you got your first loan. What made you want to go ahead and go for a loan? Was that what paid for the self-development, or did you was that something you just wanted to do?
Oh, I had credit. I said, I'm all over the world. Let me go on and get this money. Yeah. They gave it to me. I signed for it. Like, all right. So when they gave me the loan, I said, okay. And I was responsible with it, though. But I took my first trip. I think I went to Puerto Rico.
Oh, nice.
I seen another side of the world. I ain't know no Spanish. They like polo. I'm like chicken. Right. We argued back and forth. But, it was cool. It taught me, a lot. So I got that loan, and then once I paid it off, I was able to get more. Then $20,000. Then I'll pay off my car or my rent up for months. Then the money I get, I put up and pay back. So it just taught me responsibility and to use their money and not mine. Yeah.
So. What was your plans during that time, if you don't mind me asking? Was it everything you saw now, or were you just...
Back then, I knew I wanted to do something. I didn't know what it was. I knew I had a greater purpose, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was, I don't know what I wanted to do then. I was breeding dogs. I know that. They were good, Yorkies and Poodles. They made good money. And then, no, I didn't know what I wanted to do then.
Got you. Yes.
So I got to Bowman. I knew then. It clicked. I'm like, I know what I want to do. But then, I was just like, just wasn't a job.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. It sounds like a money masterclass in money during that time period. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But, man, if you don't mind me asking, too, as well, because I know you went to OCC, too, for business, marketing, and management, if I'm not mistaken. Right. What talk about your experience at OCC. How did that benefit you?
I quit.
You quit?
I quit. Oh, it was cool. It was cool. I paid for the first couple of classes, and then I'm just like, it was a waste of money to me. Yeah. I felt like, with the loans you got to pay back, you become stuck. And I'm like, even with this degree, I know it's always good to have something to fall back on, but I took a risk of just letting it go. Say, hey, I don't need a piece of paper to tell me who I am. So, I took the little classes, and I just stopped. I didn't go back. I said, school not for everybody. Yeah. That's when I went full force into entrepreneurship. Yeah. And I just was... Ever since then, I learned along the way, to pay your taxes quarterly and to put money up. I self-taught myself on how to survive.
Yeah.
Basically, it was just a survival mode then.
Yeah. Yeah, you hear a lot of mixed reviews on college now. Always either saying you don't have to go or you should go, but it seems to me, based on your experience, you had the confidence to say I can self-educate myself and what I need to know. What gave you the courage to feel that way? Were you reading books during that time period? Were you already self-educating?
I was self-educating, but also when I had to pay them, when the books due, because I couldn't get financial aid. My parents, I think I was under their income till you 26 or something with FOSFA. So by them working at the plant in GM, which wasn't a lot of money to survive on in our community, but, I didn't qualify. So I had to pay everything out of pocket.
Yeah.
And I wanted to go to the big school, the women in the little short skirts.
Come on now.
I was ready, but, I couldn't. I'm like, I'm not going to pay all of that to go, didn't know what I wanted to do. So, I went there and it just wasn't for me.
Wow. Man, that's really interesting, I got to say. Even though people do feel that way about college, answer me this. If you had to go back and kind of go through that same sort of experience, okay, I'm going to go to college, I'm not going to go to college, would you still choose to say, I'm going to go, I'm not going to go?
If it was earlier, I probably would go. If I would have qualified or knew what I knew now, I probably would have went to the school of choice and did what I needed to do and then do business.
Yeah.
But I always I encourage people that want the experience to get it. Because everybody's different. A lot of people aren't entrepreneurs. A lot of people don't go to school.
Right,
but I feel like having that background is always good. Yeah, if I can do it over again, I would go to school.
Yeah, I feel that, man. Very honest. Most people would say, I wouldn't.
I would go. For the whole experience now. The women, the short skirt. I want all of it.
Yeah,
it's not OCC. I want the whole college campus. So.
What was your original campus you wanted to go to? Was it Michigan State?
Georgia. I think it's
Georgia.
Yeah.
Really?
I was ready. I want to join. What they do, the clapping and the alpha. I want to do that too. So yeah.
Man, that's crazy, man. But so all right. So being an employee now, from Beaumont to, you said you worked at Taco Bell, the bank, all the different jobs, man. Before you stepped out into entrepreneurship, just that time period you spent as an employee, what do you think was some of the biggest lessons you learned?
To always put people first.
Really?
It taught me now, like each one of my business, I don't argue with the client. You just figure out what can you do to help them.
Yeah.
So even like I worked at Target, whatever it is for the client, in that moment we feel like we're always right.
Yeah.
But everybody's different. That might be our mindset now, but that person might actually be right in the wrong moment. Yeah. So it just taught me to always put people first and respect people's boundaries. Because you don't know it all. You learn every day.
Facts.
Each person, from management to customers to some of my coworkers, taught me something. Yeah. And all of it is a valuable lesson that I use today. Yeah. And that's just people are different. Everybody's different.
Wow. So now let's transition to entrepreneurship. Rapid Revenue Tax Service. You started that, I want to say 2015, right? Or 2014.
Yeah.
2014. You started that company, man. Leaving Beaumont, what gave you the realization, I need to start this. I need to do this?
I was like, I had to fall on something. So I said, like, let me go on and do it. I'm like, hey, you got to do something.
Right,
I needed money. I had bills. So I actually was doing them at home in my dining room, living room. Really? I had my clients come over, and I was selling dogs at the same time. So I've had about 6 to 12 dogs, depending on both are in heat. So I make probably $12,000 off the dogs, and then I'll make my tax money. But I was doing on TurboTax. I'm like, hey, but people didn't want to pay because they're doing on TurboTax. They got to bring you the money. Man, that Friday they get the money. You got to chase them down, go looking for them, sleep in their driveway. I'm like, no, I got to change this.
Yeah.
So I actually, it said, go on and step out. So I actually opened up my first building.
Really?
And start doing taxes. And when I start doing taxes, I start making real money.
Man.
So I was set up with the software where my money will come out of their tax returns before they get it.
Yeah.
And it just taught me, to grow. I moved from the living room to there, so it was cool. Man,
talk about owning your own tax company. That's different. Most people's first business is definitely not taxes, and also leaving college too. You know what I'm saying?
It was rough because that's where that faith come in. You shaking, you like, I don't know about this. I might have to do something else, but you know.
And your background it sounds to me.
No, it was
selling clothes.
It was something I did. It wasn't nothing I learned and said, hey, I want to do it. But I was good with numbers. I like numbers, and I enjoyed the money that I got.
Yeah.
So, a lot of times they say do something that you love and not for the money. But the money was good. Right, so I grew to love it. So I enjoy doing it. And I'm like, hey, you want to do that?
Right.
My end goal is to have my own franchise and to have different ones operating and have employees. Yeah. So right now, I'm still the one that's doing the taxes. So I sit there individually with the clients and do them. But I like the relationship in the building. So, I had no clue. Yeah, on doing it. I thought I'd be at the living room forever. But I'm like, hey, I got to build it. Yeah. Then moved to a storefront, and it worked out.
What was that transition like, going from living room to, this is a real thing?
I was scared. Really? Like, do I get everything right? Do I got the license? Do I got the right stuff? So I had to educate myself on classes and business accounts and savings and supplies and buying printers. At home, you using the printer, you good. But to have operating with a storefront and a big business, you had to have business card, business insurance. There was a lot I had to learn and throw myself in that I didn't know I needed. Like Beaumont, you have to have insurance just in case somebody fall or something go wrong, clerical errors in emissions. So it taught me that. From leaving from living room, I was just like, hey, you come over. Right. Like having been like, these people here. Yeah. They can sue me. Right. I'm like, I don't want to take anything I got now. Started, so.
Yeah. Most people don't talk about this, but I definitely want to know this, man. That first employee, what was that like?
What, taxes?
Yeah, having your first employee.
Man, it was like I can do this. First, you was nervous at first. I'm like, what am I doing? I said, am I doing this the right way while I'm doing it? Yeah. I knew I was doing it the right way, but it was just like, it was happening. Like you planted that seed and to actually watch it grow and have somebody be like, hey, I trust you with my information. Yeah. This somebody's whole social security number. Yeah. Whole ID. You sitting there like, I'm young. Yeah. But it molded me. It's like, okay, you can do it.
Did you have a mentor who kind of did anybody walk you through those steps? No. Was YouTube around? Did you go to YouTube?
No, YouTube wasn't. Really? No.
Man, what'd you do to learn that?
I was Googling. Well, I think Google was online. I was Googling or what is it, Safari, whatever link was on then back then. Yeah. I was looking it up because I didn't come from a background of business. Came from workers, employees. Yeah. And I remember my dad used to say, boy, you better go to school. Yeah. You sitting there trying to start a business, you got to make some money. Yeah. And if I would have let him, play on my mind and say, hey, let me do what he was taught to do. Yeah. A lot of times our parenting isn't. It's them teaching what they was brought up, the best they know. Yeah. So if I would have let that stop me, I wouldn't be who I am today. Yeah. I would have still been working.
Man, what kept you pushing through that?
The money. I'm not gonna lie, the money. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. And you see it, and you making money, and you see the clients come and they refer people. You like, you can do it, and you treat them right. Your business kept going. I'm like, okay, I can do this. Yeah. I'm like, I can do it. Yeah.
When did you become profitable in that?
Probably 2 years after I moved from the house and got my first store, because I knew rent was due, light was due, insurance was due. It was a lot of responsibility. That's when I was like, okay, I actually see the profit now. Because at home, you had to chase some people, sit in their driveways and say, hey, if you don't have my money, I'm going to have to get hood and all. Right. So, that's when it taught me. Yeah. I actually opened up my first suite.
That's awesome, man. What kept you afloat in between that time period? Was it dog grooming?
Yeah, I was breeding. Man, I was breeding
You're an expert dog breeder.
I was breeding. Look, and I didn't know nothing about it. I was just like, back then, Yorkies would sell. Yorkies and poodles. So I was like, okay. It was $1,000 a dog. So I was getting a $200 deposit. And I'm like, all right. So when I wasn't doing taxes, I was breeding the dogs. I probably hold the dogs out a lot, because they was pregnant They supposed to take a break. Yeah. They pregnant for 63 days. So every 6 months they go in heat. But man, every 6 months we had some puppies on.
Yeah, I'm sure there's somebody who would want to hear some piece of advice on dog breeding. Oh, yeah. I know you got a lot.
Yeah. 63 days pregnant, you make sure that the female is bigger than the male. Make sure the stud is bigger, because you don't want him to produce the kids bigger and she have complication pushing them out. Wow. Also, if you had a small teacup or smaller dogs, I don't recommend breeding. They might have one or two, or you may risk your dog and have a puppy. So depending on how you love the pet, but it was.
Man, most people are not completely honest with their entire come up story, man. But I gotta say that is wild, man. In between doing taxes,
I was breeding dogs.
Man,
make it 12. It was a lot of work though. Having all them dogs, you felt like a man that was with dogs and cats. But, it made good money though.
Man, I bet. Looking back during that whole time period with the tax company and everything that was going on, what's a piece of advice you would give yourself? if you could do things differently, or
if I could do things different, I would say definitely educate myself more. Look for a mentor or work with people that've done it.
Yeah.
I was always the type to say, hey, I'm going to do it. I don't need help, this and that. You do need help. That's just in life. You know, it's always somebody that can do it. And I will always make myself coachable and learnable. I used to think that I knew it, or just because somebody else didn't do it and they were older than me, that I knew it, but I didn't know it. Their piece of advice was something that I needed for my puzzle in order to succeed. So it might have took me a little longer, but that's my advice. So always pay attention to those that have done it before you, or that's giving you advice from another field.
Yeah.
Because you can take something from what you're doing and help me with something. I can take something from what I'm doing to help you.
Right.
We don't always know it all, and sometimes we get in our own way. So
facts. Kind of always stay a student. Man, talk about that. Do you have a mentor now? No. So talk about that trial and error, because that's a lot of trial and error to get to a place where you're actually running. You know what I'm saying? In what you're doing. Talk about that, man. Going through that trial and error. Again, I know you said the money kept you through it, but just mentally, you have to be a very strong individual to take certain hits and losses I'm sure you took during that time period while trying to learn, man. Just talk about that a little bit.
I took a lot of losses, most definitely. You know, I was looking for the money to come sometimes, or, you know, the first couple of years, I didn't know money management. I was like, hey, I'm on survival mode. I'm going to take this money. I'm going to eat. I'm going here. But a lot of people that you take to eat and do things for, you don't see them no more. Once you gave what you gave, they're not there to be like, hey, how business going? You slow. Sometimes you, like I said, tax time, you made good money. But if you're not budgeting the money the right way, and then to say three of your dogs pass away, then that's cutting into your money. But if you don't know money management, you'll blow through it.
Right.
So the first, prior years, I was giving it away like, hey, I'm just making money. It ain't taxable. But then I learned you got to pay taxes on it. You got to be responsible. You have to have a savings. You have to have a license. It's a lot of stuff that it taught me, and not having a mentor, I had to self-teach myself. Sometimes teaching yourself, you try to cut curves, but you can't.
Right.
So, having a mentor is important. And like I said, you take a lot of losses. That's including people. Because you have a lot of doubters, including family. They're like, you can't do it, or you wouldn't do it, or, oh, you too young, you can't do it. So you go through all of that, and then your mindset would be like, dang, am I doing the right thing? Should I go work for somebody else?
Yeah.
The family not supporting me. I got one or two. They talking about me. So you go through all of that. And like you said, you have to be strong. If you're not strong, you'll break. And as a man, like being a man even young, at a young age, you can't never break. I feel like as being a man, you always got to be strong.
Yeah.
That's how I seen my dad. He was always strong. You never seen the vulnerable side of him or let that bill go. You always seen him make it happen. So you grow up in this community thinking, dang, I can't let nobody see it. I can't be vulnerable. I can't do it.
Yeah.
But mistakes is your best teacher.
Yeah.
And you have to actually do it and make mistakes in order to learn. Because if not, nobody's going to be perfect.
Yeah. I had two questions out of what you just said. First one, going through that period of shedding off people, what was that like? And how did you handle that? Because I'm sure you had to lose people close to you, friends that you felt like would be there at the place that you're at now that's currently not, or maybe not. What was that like for you?
That's hurtful.
Yeah.
It was a hurtful experience. You lose people that you think could be in your life forever.
Yeah.
And like I said, some people come in your life for a season and a reason. They come to teach you something. That may be to let them go. Yeah. Each season they can't grow with you. A lot of people have to go, but it's a hurtful process. But it's necessary in order to grow.
Yeah.
Because we try to hold on to tangible things. That's people, relationships, dating. And sometimes God says time up. And we hold our own selves up from growing and our blessings trying to go back. I went back and forth like, hey, oh, you supporting me. I need your business. But you get more clients. You get more people. You get more relationship. You get more friends. But you keep going back because you're comfortable.
Yeah.
And when you come comfortable, you become complacent. When you come there, you be like, okay, you're stuck. So when you see them not making any moves, not doing anything, not growing, you're like, okay, yeah, it's time to go. Yeah. It's hurtful though. It's not easy, but once you learn it, you're like, all right, I can do this. Yeah. They ain't come with you and they ain't gonna leave with you. So that's where I'm at now.
Right. Man, also too, did you skip any steps and have to fall back on? Like, you said cut curves. You try and cut curves. Actually, went up a couple steps and had to get knocked back down 3 steps. Did you move forward? What was that like?
I always got knocked down. I was just like, I'm ready to quit. Throw in the time. Even with real estate, that's not easy because you gotta build your clientele. It's just all you. Yeah. You're just out there to the wolves, and only the strong survive. Yeah. So for me, and a lot of people don't know, I hate taking tests. I'm smart and I know them, but it's just something about tests that frees me. It's like, dang. Especially when you got to sit in a cubicle and just sit here and focus. Like, I be like, what the music, what's something, with my phone. I can't just do it. But, you know, it taught me to overcome that fear of taking tests. So I had took the test about 3 times before I passed it. But it taught me in that to not quit. I was like, okay, this must not be for me. But if you give up that easy in life, you would never get nothing that's meant for you. Right. So I went back the second time. I'm like, man, this just ain't for me. I studied more. And the point of the test is to trick you up. You up on the answers, give you stuff you don't know, or the literature you don't need, or reword it where to trick your mind. But when you go in there ready and say, I'm going to pass this and change your mindset, manifest it, this third time, I'm finna get this. I want it. Yeah. That's when I wanted it bad. And each time you have to reschedule, I think it was like $86 or $100. So I'm like, man, I ain't doing this no more. I'm going to pass it this time. Yeah. That third time was a charm. Wow. But it taught me to never quit. Yeah. A lot of people will be like, I'm done. I know a lot of people that just said they were done. Even growing up, they like, hey, I'm comfortable. I'm like, no, I'm going to do it. Yeah. So I went back and reevaluated, looked at some more literature, even took a class, you know, with other people that taught this so that I can learn something that maybe I might have been skipping. Yeah. I was able to actually pass. So I just never quit.
Nice, man. What changes did you have to make mentally about money now that you're an entrepreneur?
Now it's
what was the mindset shift?
Not to celebrate everybody. What I mean by celebrate everybody is you making money. And that's why I tell people I don't want to be the smartest one in the room. A lot of people will take offense to that and say, hey, you can learn from everybody. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is when you're the smartest one in the room or in your circle, they can come to you and say, hey, give me some information on taxes. Give me information on real estate. Give me taxes on motivation. Give me some information on how to survive or how to be strong. Yeah. But when your well is running dry, you're not pouring in their cup, or they got a job promotion and you're celebrating them. Yeah. Then who pouring into you? They're nowhere to be found. They're nowhere. Yeah. They done. You know, you spend money, you do something, they say, hey, congratulations, or put it on Facebook. But where are they mentally? Are they there with you? They don't show up. So,
man, what's been the most rewarding thing about being an entrepreneur?
The clients. The people you work with.
Yeah.
You thought I was going to say money.
I thought you were going to say freedom. I thought you were going to say freedom.
It's the people. It's the people you connected to with the freedom. Because you take one right person to introduce you to freedom. Yeah. So it's about how you carry yourself around the right people.
Go back. Say that one more time. You get introduced to one right person that leads you to freedom.
Yep. Yeah. If you meet that right person and you're doing everything you're doing in your power to grow and be an entrepreneur, it take you to walk in one room to grow. They can introduce you to one person that can change your whole life. And you're freer than you already are. Yeah. But freedom is one too, because you don't have to punch a clock. Like, I couldn't imagine working a 9 to 5 and taking care of parent full time and being a family man. Like, oh, I got to work and run a business. So freedom is another one. But it's not. A lot of people get hung up. Oh, I'm free. I don't have to punch a clock. You working more hours. Yeah. You working 80 hours a week. When you sleep or can't sleep, you writing a book or you writing a script or you looking up comps for a house, or you work hard. You work harder than just, hey, this your assignment, this your set for this week. You get 10 people. You working with 20. Yeah. Hey, I want to buy a house. I want carpet. I want hardwood floor. Hey, I need my taxes done, but I owe a lot. I can't pay you. It's a lot you deal with. So you learn from everybody.
Wow.
You learn from everybody.
Man, you're definitely a server. You're definitely a server, man. Yeah. You are 100% a server. There isn't one entrepreneur I think I've ever met who said the most rewarding thing about being an entrepreneur was the clients.
Yeah, because you can go and say just the freedom and the money, but how would you get the freedom and the money if you don't have the clients? Yeah. A lot of people get so hung up on it's my business. The business is made from the client. If you don't have no clientele, if you don't show appreciation, if you don't have them supporting what you're doing, you don't have no business. Yeah. Rent has to be paid. Insurance has to be paid. Your name got to go on billboards. You need business card. Without the client, you don't have nothing.
Yeah. Man, I'm going to transition into AR written entertainment. But the last question I want to ask was, what were the biggest hardships you went through as an entrepreneur?
Hell, I go through them now. Yeah. So it's just money. You know, like, it just, I'm telling you, it's money. You make money. And people like, oh, he the richest man in the world. But they don't understand the breakdown that you have. They don't understand you got insurance. Business expenses, supplies, like y'all run cameras, phone bills. You got to have a phone and internet for everything. You got to look good because we already, you know what I'm saying? You got to walk in the room. Can't come in here just with anything on. You got to dress up, you know, and you got to budget. You got to have money put up. People just feel like you have all this money, but you have to budget. You don't have nothing to fall back on if you spend all your money. You celebrate Saturday night. Oh, we buying booths and bottles. We hanging out. Where all the girls at? You hanging out. But then when you spend all, what you got to fall back on?
Yeah.
Nothing. So a hardship is money and people being around the people that feel like money grow on trees. Yeah. They work and spend theirs. They gonna get it back because they got to report 9 to 5. You like, where my next client at?
Yeah.
You got to pop out at Walgreens. You might got to ride the garbage truck. You don't know what you got to do.
Facts.
Seriously, you might got to DoorDash and be like, hey, I sell houses. You don't know where that next check is coming from. So it's hardships every day in entrepreneurship. The hardest thing is if you want to quit.
Yeah.
Each day you get challenged with something. So those where the hardships come from.
Man, was there ever a point where you had made a good amount of money and then you lost it and had to go back to zero, or were you always a steward with the money you received?
I was always a steward with the money, but I would say probably 2022, I was just splurging, just buying everybody's stuff, just hanging out, just giving back, just giving it. But when I did that, I realized like, hey, you giving out this, you doing this, but where are these people to support you? Where are these people to give you a like? It's free to share something on Facebook. You run the business, they don't even share. But you give so much back of yourself that you'll lose yourself. It's not always about the money, but you'll lose yourself giving to other people. You pour into people, you're positive, you motivating. You get them your spirit that you got, but then when your cup running low, they know where to refill you up. Yeah. So you'll lose yourself. So I did lose myself. Then I'm like, hey, what am I doing? Should I quit? Am I doing the right thing? So yeah.
Yeah. Can you talk about resting? Do you take rest? Do you take breaks?
I've learned to take rest.
Yeah. I had an interesting conversation with my barber. I was explaining, I got so many different responsibilities, so many different things. He was like, you need to learn how to take a break. Just learn how to just take a day rest. At what point in your journey did you feel like, hey, all right, I can take a break? He told me most people can do it. Usually it takes them about 5 years, maybe more.
I don't think I took a break yet.
Really?
I don't think I took a break. I find myself, I usually say Sunday's a rest day. Or Saturday. I find something to do. If a client say they ready to see a house, I'm dressed. Here we go. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Usually I be like, I'm not working this day or that day. But I feel like, you just got to keep going, especially being a man. Yeah. I just don't have a rest day. I feel like, I don't know if it's guilty or what. I feel like whatever the 24 hours I'm giving today, I won't get back. So if I put this off tomorrow and say I can do it, if I'm not here tomorrow, I could have did it today. Yeah. So rest is hard for me. Unless I'm out of town.
I feel it.
I'll book a trip in a minute, but I'm still on the computer. So
yeah. You kind of always bring work with you.
You can't sleep. You can't. Yeah. Unless you got an assistant, you got a big team. But no, when it's just you, it's hard to rest.
I feel that, man. You speak a lot on I'm being a man. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Talk about why do you go back to that? Why do you go back to that always?
I mean, because you just have to provide. You have to provide. Unless you one of the guys that play the game all day and the women pay the bills. I'm not going to allow that, though. You know what I'm saying? So I always feel like I have to fall back on me. Because if you lose it all, you got you. Yeah. If you owe the IRS $120,000, you think people finna help you, you got you. Yeah. So being a man, you always have to stay in position. I feel like that because we can never take a break. Yeah. Everybody put us on this pedestal, or we put ourselves there where we can't take a break. We always got to be a man. I just feel like that from learning from my dad. Yeah. Sometimes it's okay to be vulnerable and chill, but I'm just always, okay, I got to open the door for a woman. I got to put gas in the car. I got to wash. I got to run. Always, my mindset is just always, you just always got to be on guard. Yeah. So you don't never get caught slipping. I just feel like that.
I feel you, man. I was trying to be as PC as possible with that question. I was like, I don't know how do I actually, you know what I'm saying? But, man, so now Aunt Samuel Publishing and also AR Written Entertainment, 2 companies you started in 2015, man. Talk about that. What was that like? And what made you do it? What was the inspiration behind it?
The inspiration was I had some scripts and stuff done. And I'm like, I'm going to become a self-published author. I always doubted myself. I said, I can't do that. I can't do all of this. I'm like, I can do it. Yeah. So I actually said I'm going to release some books. I self-publish and register Aunt Samuel Publishing. Yeah. Where I do short films and books, self-published books. AR Written Entertainment is actually me and my business partner business. So I co-own. Yeah. We both worked at Beaumont and left at the same time. We said we're going to actually step out on faith and leave and do it. And that's when we premiered our stage play, Hear My Cries, the play in 2016. Wow. Sold out 2 theaters. Wow. We couldn't even do it. Like, we didn't think we can do it. Faith took us there, but like working with her and us working together, we got so much in store for life. But again, we thought about budget. We thought about, hey, we lost the faith for a minute, but now we're back. We're ready. So me and her stepped out on faith, and that's where AR Written Entertainment came from.
Wow,
Our
man.
first film and play. Yep.
Yeah, that's so different, man. What if you don't mind, just if you could list off all of, what you've created, if it's a book, movie. I know you said Hear My Cries, released that first. Was there any other projects that you wanted to mention or spotlight while you're here?
Hear My Cries, the stage play, 2016. Hear My Cries, the movie. We got a couple of scripts done now that we're gonna release. And then what is my book? Motivational Talk is one book. Home Ownership with the Dancing Realtor is the second book. And then If Not Now, Then When, which teaches people if you don't jump now, then when. Because we wait.
Yeah.
And then I got 2 more books coming out in May, but I'm not gonna say the name because they watch.
That's cool. Can you tell me anything about it?
One is about men.
Okay.
Me and Sean, there we go with that again. Because I feel like we gotta be vulnerable. We never, and women don't allow us to be vulnerable. It's like, okay, what are you whining for? What is this? What is this? We always on guard. But that book let you be like, let me put my guard down. Let me tell you what we really go through. Like, sometimes we get tired. So I released it in that book. Now I ain't got to keep saying it. Now I'm done with that.
No, I respect it though, man, because that is a big thing. That's a big thing.
And the other book is about relationships. Because it's piss in the water now, so
Yeah. Oh man, it's a big topic
so
now.
it's just Yeah. So that book is just gonna be
Man, that's awesome. I respect that. So, tell me, man, where do you find the time? You created scripts, and you said I already had scripts completed. Now, dog breeding, we already touched that.
Yeah.
Taxes, we touched that. Also, too, you were working at Beaumont. You were also doing 2 other side hustles, I believe.
Right.
The bank. Where did you squeeze in the time to start working on scripts, working on books? Like,
I get to ask that a lot. Well, you got to make time for it.
Yeah.
Something that you really want, you got to make time for it. So when I really activated my faith, that's when I made time for it. Like now, when I leave here, if I drive and something sparked from a conversation, I can write a whole script. I had to pull over, get notes, and get to writing the script. God would just give me something like that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of stuff is reality. A lot of stuff you got to write about.
Yeah.
So that I make the time. Like I do real estate. I get up, go to the gym at 5, do real estate, and then taxes now until April 15th. Thank God.
Yeah.
And then I do the script. So even at night, some nights I stay up all night. Some night from 10 to 3 I do scripts. So it just depends on, you got to make the time. Because if not, the richest place, you know where the richest place is?
The graveyard.
There you go.
Yeah.
And that would be my biggest regret, to have all this completed, not have it filmed or no books released that can help somebody or teach somebody something, and they just laying there with me.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. What do you like most? I know you're also an actor too as well, writer, producer. What do you like most, man? Acting, writing, or producing?
I like acting.
Really?
It's cool. Some of it is challenging, depending on your character in the script. You're like, okay, can I do that? But it pulls more out of you. It shows you, like, I can do this. It teaches you another side of somebody else. So I like the acting, and I like the directing, because it's your script or what you see, your vision. Everybody sees something different. But to be like, hey, let's put the lamp there, or hey, I need you to lay this way. Let me do this. The directing is cool too. The writing, the film part, the camera. You got to make sure you with the camera guy though. You got to make sure. So it all play. Matter of fact, it all play together. Because if you're doing it, you got to make sure that you're watching the camera guy, because this is your baby that you gonna birth. You got to make sure the audio is good. So a lot of stuff behind the scenes people don't see. They see the actual film, but everything that goes into it, you got to oversee it all. The scripts, the writing, the display, the set.
So it's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work. But
what were you about to say?
It's worth it.
It's worth it.
It's worth it. Yeah.
Wow. Was there what drew you to film? Just to
Well, in COVID, we were going to bring the stage play back, actually. And we were rehearsing on Zoom. We like, okay, well, cool, we got this.
Yeah.
And then they shut everything down. We were going to go to the Northwest Activity Center. We booked the date. We're like, no, everything was shut down. So we're like, no, we're not going to just let this stop. We've been putting in months of work. So we're like, okay, cool. We did all the tests, and we actually turned it into a film.
Wow.
That's where the first film came at.
Nice. What was that like working on that during COVID? That had to be crazy.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was a headache. It was fun. It was everything. You like, it's my last time here. You just had a lot going on, but it was cool.
Yeah.
It was a lot of work.
What would you say is the biggest misconception about the entertainment business?
That you're rich. Make a lot of money. That's what they think. You make a lot of money. It goes on the streams. It goes on the support. It goes on the theaters. A lot of people like, hey, you got your film in a theater. You making a lot of money. You have to pay the theater percentage too.
Yeah.
So if you go to some of the high ends, they want $8,000 a screen.
Yeah.
So you got to pay money to make money. In the ticket sale, your cousins. Let me get one for 20. You got to make the money. They don't understand that. So that's the biggest misconception is that, oh, you did it, you made it. It's always a growing process. You always got to make more money. So
yeah. How is working on movies, books? How has that taught you more about life?
I actually write from experience or fictional. It's taught me that no matter what, everybody's going through something. Taught me everybody's going through something. Yeah. Because the script you can write one day, maybe something in your head or something you've seen or something you're familiar with, and you just write and say, hey, I'm just going to stash it. Like I told you, it's something done. If I don't get it out here, sometimes you get people in the crowd that'll save their life. They may be going through that same exact thing there. But again, it teach you about people. You never know your audience. Yeah.
What's something you learned about publishing since becoming an author?
Yeah, you have to learn a lot. Copyright, book formatting, editing. It's a lot you got to learn. Doing the business the right way, opening up an account, self-publishing, when to release the right date, trailers. It's a lot that you got to learn. You can't just drop a book signing. It's a lot that you have to put into it. So I learned a lot. And just write from experience or write what you want. Because you're going to get a lot of people that feel like you should write what they want, but you don't know what people want you to write about. Yeah. You're writing about experience or something or something that's going to help somebody. So can't satisfy everybody.
I feel that, man. Let's transition over to real estate. Bynum Ward and Associates, 2017. You started as a real estate agent, man. What drew you to real estate?
I always liked designs and homes. I always liked home, even younger. I like painting and ripping off the trim and putting it back up, transforming a room. It's just something about it. A room just looking dull and just decorating and just changing. I'm just like, let me get in real estate. And then it's lucrative. A lot of people, we don't own land. We don't own nothing. A lot of people just rent. They don't know the importance. So I got into it to change the mindset of our people. Home ownership. So got into it then and stayed. And I came in killing it. Yeah, and I learned from experience. It wasn't no guided book or a broker that said, hey, this is how you got to do it. I actually did the work. I said, hey, you're going to learn from doing the work. And it worked out.
That's awesome, man. What was that transition like?
Transition from what?
Going into real estate, that was in 2017. So a few years, obviously, tax company.
Real estate, it played a role. It all played a role because filming books is, it's different. That's a whole different avenue. That's your residual income. Yeah. Book sell online while you sleep is doing this, but your real estate is my main bread and butter. Yeah. I like to teach people about home ownership, and I like to help sellers sell the homes for top value. So it's a win-win. You can buy land, rental property, invest, flip. It's a lot that goes for your future wealth. So that's my bread and butter. The other stuff is my purpose. But real estate, that's it. That's my win right there. Yeah. Licensed here in Georgia, so.
Really? Yeah. I mean, I can tell wealth is a huge factor in your life, something you think about often, especially generational wealth. It sounds to me like, especially when you say future and these different words, man. Is that something, when you said growing up you always wanted to be an entrepreneur, is this how you saw it coming together?
I didn't see it like that. I just knew I would always be working for myself. I didn't know to what extent that I'll be working, but I always knew I'd be an entrepreneur. I didn't know it would be this big. I didn't know that. Yeah. But keeping the faith, it got me this big. But like I say, wealth is just so important in our culture, in our generation, because we just blow money. We just spend. Nice. We don't save. We don't think about tomorrow. We live for the moment. Yeah. Which some people is okay with, but we have to think further. We have to leave our children something. We can't leave them a rental. We grow them up and say, hey, I'm renting this house. You throw $50,000, $60,000 away. That's a down payment on the house and some. But if we raising our kids with the same mindset, they're going to grow up and do the same thing. So I said wealth is very important. Like even if you own land, it's important. Wealth is important. And a lot of people don't even have an active savings account. We use Cash App, Chime. It's just so important just to build for your future and wealth.
Yeah, they say the average person doesn't even have $1,000 in their savings account. It's crazy.
And a lot of people have one taught, so yeah.
Yeah. What is something that people think is true about real estate that's completely false?
It's easy. Because it's not.
You think people think it's easy?
Yeah, a lot of people think it's easy. Like, oh, you make this money, you get one big check. But they don't look at, you got to pay expenses, insurance, fees. Then you got to pay taxes. So you got to take 20 or 30% out, put that up. And then it take 30 days to get a check in real estate, 30 to 45.
Really?
If something happens that 30-day period, I moved, I had to set up now, I mean this.
Yeah.
Your whole check gone. So you got to start back over dipping the savings. People think, oh, you just got the money. No, if that deal falls that 30 days, if they go finance a car the day of closing, the deal's done.
Really?
Or some come up, the lender pull a different credit report, is gone. So a lot of people think, oh, it's easy and you just close and it's big money. You get a check, but you have to break the check down. And you also have to budget until you pay it again. Yeah. Because deals can fall. Yeah. Anything can happen to a client. I had one client, we were in the middle of selling her house. And she's still here. We still close. She was elderly. I had the house on the market. We were supposed to close. We had an offer. Mm-hmm. So I was trying to get her to sign. So it took me like 2 weeks. I'm like, what's going on? Where's she at? So I'm like, let me go and drive out here. It was in Shelby Township. I drove. So I happened to see her son. He's like, oh, man, she had a stroke. She in the hospital. She ain't doing good, this and that. So we was up in there. I take the house off the market, get a new buyer. I'm like, what we going to do? She ended up being in the hospital, I think, about 3 months. So I had to keep the listing pending. But we ended up closing when she got out, and she's still here. We still communicate. Wow. But in that moment, if that was my only deal, what was I going to do? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was the money. You're like, okay, cool. This is my client. You don't know what's going on. So yeah.
Can you talk about that experience a little bit and kind of did that teach you? Did that give you a new perspective on real estate?
Yeah, it was scary. Yeah. That's the first time I ever had to happen. And it was similar to what happened to my dad, minus the stroke. And I'm just like, it sounds like the same thing. What's the repeat? What's going on? And especially like when you know you're closed and you're like, okay, I'll count this money for. But when you got clients like that, like we'll call, I say, hey, have you eaten today? We were cool. We built up a relationship. But to be in that situation, I had to put the realtor aside and become a friend. Because you had to make sure your client was okay mentally, physically, before you can even do real estate. Yeah. So the calls and the check and to not remember nothing, and it was a process because you want to be involved. It's the money is out the window at that point. Mm-hmm. You want to make sure your client is good. So that was a scary point because they said she wasn't gonna make it, and when she did, so yeah, it was scary. Yeah. And you come focused, like you know, money out the window. Yeah. When you have for integrity, and for my clients, I'm like, hey, I feel some type of way. I'm hurt. I feel bad, so. Yeah.
I want to give you props, man, on being a leader. I know that's something we talked about over LinkedIn too, just serving leadership and just overall. But like even in a story like that, I can see because most people wouldn't feel that way. Most people would be like, "Oh, I lost the dollar, I lost the person."
Yeah, and that's it. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I stay consistent because you never know when it can be you. That's how I always treat people. If it was me, well, how would I want to be treated? Because you just never know who you're gonna need. Yeah, that's why I'm always careful what I say, how you treat people. Yeah, always.
Man, I got to say, it's so interesting. Something I've learned about life, and especially when it comes to talking to people who have accomplished things, people who are successful, what I always find is usually they're the most generous of people. Oh, yeah. They are. I completely thought it was the opposite, man. Yeah. Completely thought it was the opposite. What was that experience like for you?
Well, I mean, like I thought it was the total opposite, too, until you actually learn people. They take a moment to just, because sometimes you just walk in the room and be like, nah. But vibes don't lie. Vibes don't lie. Energy don't lie. You know a good person when you know them. Yeah. And when I began to learn more about energy and vibes and people, I'm like, oh, okay, I can rock with this person. At first, I'm just like, nah. Because some people walk in with their nose stuck up. And then you already follow, like, well, they don't like me. Facts. But some people might just be having a bad day. But when you show up as yourself, people open up to you. Yeah. It changed the whole dynamic of the whole room. Yeah. When you walk in the room, you can read that whole room.
Yeah. Man, a few books that changed my life in terms of dealing with people. Of course, is the old time favorite. Everybody knows it. Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. But John C. Maxwell, man, everyone communicates, few connect. I'm not sure. Have you read that book?
I haven't read that one.
Man, it's a phenomenon. Obviously, John C. Maxwell is one of the spokespeople for leadership in general. But it's just a powerful, powerful book, man. It's what helped me change that perspective about people. Because I realized a lot of times people aren't actually connecting with people. They're just communicating. Right. And that's something that John C. Maxwell talked about in the book. But, of course, Personality Plus, and a few other ones. Was there any books for you that changed, that gave you insight on how to deal with people? And what were those?
Few being, I think it is My Ex Want Me Back. And that topic is a good book. It's just about anything that's an example to you. Yeah, that could be drugs, that could be relationships, alcohol. And then Destiny, I think by T.D. Jakes, I think. Destiny. Really? Yep, that one. And I think it's Michael Todd. I can't remember the name of it. Relationship Goals. And Those books, after reading those, they taught me something valuable about relationships, communication, comprehension. Yep.
Mm. From your first home sold to your most recent, what's been something that you've learned? Not something that you learned. What's been some of the biggest things that you've learned?
To overcome the challenges.
Really?
Each home you list or each home that you sell will come with a different challenge. Some are smooth transactions and some are not. But you always got to know how to navigate and how to treat the people. Your client is the reason you're there. Mm-hmm. There's so many realtors in the world. For them to hire you is just an honorary moment for herself. And then, like I said, each person, some people know they sold a home before. Some bought. So you just have to be delicate with each client. So it has taught me to work with some you can't work with. It's okay to fire people. I fire clients. So you got to fire some before they fire you, because sometimes it just don't work out. Some people go in the mindset of they knowing it all when you're the professional, so sometimes it just don't work. So you learn something every day in real estate. Every day. Yeah. Every day.
If you don't mind talking about that, you said this is an honorary moment when someone hires you, man. What separates realtor? What is a distinguisher that you would say is important for realtors to know when it comes to clients hiring them?
Be professional and be available. There's a lot of agents that don't answer the phone. There's a lot of agents that just in it for the money. You have to actually work for the client. That's how your business keep growing and growing and growing. Wow. Your brand is important. So a lot of agents, they just come in and just do whatever they want to do. Communication and comprehension is important. Always answer the phone. A lot of people don't answer the phone. A lot of realtors like, hey, I'll call back. It's important and vital because you're working for that seller or that buyer. You have to stay consistent. They can't. That's why they hired you, to work for them. They can't call the listing agent or another agent. So you always have to work for the client. Yeah. You have to always be available.
Wow.
Always.
You talked about firing clients. When in real estate, hey, it's okay to do this?
Probably about 3 years ago. Years ago. I had a client that was just crazy. Yeah. It's crazy. She was just adamant. Her and the seller was just adamant. And it's a lot of things that I'm not in control of. Say, for instance, the seller says he's not satisfied with something. I have to take that to the buyer and then the buyer back to the seller. I can't say, hey, this is what she wants, this is what they want. But a lot of people don't understand that. Yeah. They feel like they've known you or they know you should work harder for them. But at the same time, if you're a dual agent, you're working for the best of both parties. Yeah. So if they don't come to a common agreement, you have to allow them to come to a common agreement or they have to go to some further. Yeah. But I'm not experienced in, you know what I'm saying, like law or court or whatever it may be. But a lot of people will get you mixed up and say, hey, I don't feel like you worked hard for me. And it's like, I can't change anybody's mind, a buyer or a seller. You know what I'm saying? Right. Everybody's time is valuable. So you get a lot of people like that. And a lot of people just learn not to work with. Like, some will feel like they can come to you or send you a house for $1 million. I'm not showing you that without a pre-approval. What you mean? Why would we go look at the house and you don't qualify for it? Oh, I just want to see it before I apply. So we go look at it and you apply and you only approve for $26, then what we going to do? Yeah. So they don't understand time. So a lot of them you do have to fire and understand time is valuable.
Wow. Yep. Yeah. When did you come to that point of understanding how much your time was worth in real estate?
Probably my second year in. I ran around showing houses here. Wasn't even sleep, just here, all the way, just rentals, everything, just going crazy with it. And then I'm like, hey, people didn't even qualify. 560 credit score, 520. Wow. No savings, no checking, no PDF uploads, nothing, no income. So it taught me a valuable lesson because, like I said, you just learn as you go. Yeah. It's never taught. So I'm like, oh, no.
What's the hustle of it? Of course, it's selling houses, but what's the actual? I'm in real estate. I'm trying to make money. What is the hustle of it for someone who doesn't know, who's looking to get into real estate? Because you just said it yourself. You run around, you're showing houses. Most people would think, hey, you're doing it.
The hustle is obtaining a pre-approval and building clientele. Hustle is having a database you can work with, having your system that you can work with, referrals and people to always keep something in your basket. Yeah. Don't celebrate one closing and say, hey, I made $10,000 and you think you're going 3 months. You want to always keep something in your pipeline. You always want to keep clients. You always want to be professional. You always want to be up to date on content. You always want to be up to date with the market. You always want to be up to date with the value. You always want to be up to date with everything because they looked at you as the professional. Yeah. You have to know. They come to you because you're experienced. You have to be up to date on everything, the laws and literally everything, the everything, inspections, appraisals, lenders. You work literally title companies. You have to work from A to Z. It's just not I'm a realtor, I'm going to show you we're under contract, we done.
Yeah.
No, it's inspections, it's appraisals, it's praying, it's, hey, you got this money put up, you saving, this is pre-approval. Wow. It's a lot of steps that build the puzzle.
Yeah. When can someone expect to have that organized for them if they're in real estate? When can someone expect to have all of that organized? I know everyone is different, but a year in. You mean
an agent or
yeah, having everything that you just said, having that down, and I can run with this.
As a buyer, or you mean as the agent?
As the agent.
As the agent. You got to come in with it. Because now is a different time. You have so many realtors now. Everybody's working for the same cheese.
Yeah.
So it's a bunch of mice chasing the same trap.
Mm-hmm.
So what makes you different? What's your brand? What makes you stand out? How educated are you? It's not about, I'm just handsome or I'm pretty, I'm going to sell a house. Mm-hmm. You have to be educated with the whole package. You have to know your stuff. Mm-hmm. As an agent that's coming in or want to learn, come in ready. And also, if you're looking to get into it, come in with some savings. Have money put up. Because you're not going to just come in doing deals just right off the bat. They're going to go with somebody educated. They're going to want to know. You might get 1 or 2 deals, but you always have to be established. Yeah. Because if you don't get a check for 3 to 4 months and you're leaving your job, then what you going to fall back on?
Right.
You got fees, you got dues, you got a lot of stuff. Yeah. So you always want to have that cushion where you're comfortable, and then go ahead and jump.
Wow. Yep. What are some telltale signs of, and I'm going to do this in terms of 3, seller, buyer, and agent, but what are some telltale signs of a bad buyer?
Not answering the phone. They want a house, but you call in and text it. Oh, I was here, I was there. They ain't trying to buy no house. Okay. Or you tell them, say, hey, what's your credit score, this and that. Oh, I don't know. Usually the buyers that know they're ready to buy a house know their credit score. Most people that's ready for the process or know their credit score have been working on it. Yeah. Those that don't know and that use Credit Karma, they're not ready. Wow.
Telltale signs of a bad seller.
Inconsistent. They're not ready. They say one thing, they don't know what they want to do with the price, and they're unsure. They're not ready. So you go meet with them, take the paperwork. Oh, come back in 2 weeks. Oh, come here. They give you the runaround. That shows you that they're not ready. Or one that's greedy, that want to overprice. You tell them, say, hey, your house is worth $300. Oh, I want to list it for $450. Let's put it for the max. No, you're not going to make me look uneducated when I have what your area is going for in the same comparables. We can't list it that high. Even though you go by what the seller wants you to do, but you got to also be educated and say, hey, no, I'm not going to look foolish, with all this behind me. Be like, hey, we're going to list it for $450. It's worth $100.
Right. So, yeah. How do you avoid that runaround from both parties, the buyer and the seller?
You should meet with them. Always give a free consultation and energy. Yeah. You can do a lot over the phone and over email, but once you actually meet with your client, you'll know if they work for you. Yeah. I like to meet with my clients. I like to talk to them, see where they're coming from, what they want, what's our time frame? You need to move in 30 to 60 days, or what's the rush? You got to relocate, somebody passed. What's your plan after this? Do you have another house? You buying another house? Or, what we're going to do? You always have to have a plan in play, even with a buyer. Yeah. Pre-approval is the first step to being serious. That way you know what you qualify for and the term. Yeah. Then we can get into how many bedrooms you want, where side of town you want, what city. Without that main component, which is the key in the navigational system to closing, we don't have nothing. Wow. We can't just go and just look at houses for fun. Right. Wasting time. So, and sellers don't want you in there anyway. You can't qualify. How you going to put an offer? You don't have nothing. Yeah. So, yeah.
Wow. Telltale signs of a bad agent.
They don't answer the phone. They think they've been in the business 20 years, or they got a smart mouth. Wow. Like, you go through this with a lot of agents, and for us as realtors, we have to be respectful of everybody. Not just realtors, but everybody we work with, the community, the city, our buyers, our sellers. We all have to work together. A lot of them feel like they're on this pedestal, and they're not. Those are really bad agents. They just don't answer the phone. They don't know what they're doing. They just inconsistent. They're not working for the seller. Yeah.
What's a piece of advice you would give to an agent who's struggling?
Keep going. Don't quit. Just because you don't see that sale now, you're going to get 200 no's before you get one yes. If you're selling. And then buyers just always push. Go on your list of contacts. Look at everybody you got. Make a list of those that's renting. Look at those that want to buy a house. Always keep your database going. Follow up. Call them. Check on them. Hey, send a card. Because you have a list of renters. If everybody know 20 people that's renting something, talk to them. Hey, what's your credit score? I think you should buy a house. You spending $12,000 a month for rent, or $12,000 a year. $22,000 your down payment. They got a zero down program or a $10,000 grant. What can we do so I can help you buy a house? Always be on guard. Always stay ready.
So sellers can know, and agents too, what's the telltale signs of a good buyer?
They're pre-approved. The agent is sending them their offer with a pre-approval. They show anxious. Like if you can see them at an open house, they really like the house. Buyers usually will call you like, hey, I want to see it. They're actively looking. They're ready. They're ready. They're ready to go. Yeah. They're not just dragging their feet like, hey, I just want to look at everything in Detroit. Some of them just want to just be in the house, just see it.
Really?
And some will just call and say, hey, my auntie used to live there. I want to see how it's remodeled. Like, no, we ain't gonna They do. Surprisingly, yeah.
Wow. They do. So agents and buyers can know what's the telltale signs of a good seller.
A good seller at the great price point. The house is listed at a good price point. Where we have the thing now, multiple offers to go over, so it's priced to go over. Also, they include something like the appliances or a home warranty. The house is clean. That's a lot of times. Just cleanness satisfy buyers.
Wow.
Moving ready, just staging, like not bright, crazy colors, but sellable colors. Yeah. Neutral colors that open up the room, the decor, and just their aurora. Like you walk in a home, you can feel it's a home. You can go in one place, but it's been hell in here. You can feel it, so.
Yeah. Have you actually walked into places? It's been dirty, a filth show. Has it been like? How do you go about like handling that in terms of trying to be respectful? I said,
this ain't it. I said, you got to square up, stop at the bottom. I ain't helping you do this. No.
Yeah.
But we have to, and they really like it. But I just let them know, like, stuff to look for. Like, if they took care of the home, that's the one you want. But if it's just all rundown cabinets, hanging kids, no, you don't want that. It can be that, cabinets hanging, and it's a lot.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely
Doors, you walk in there,
Yeah, I can't wait to actually the question I'm gonna ask you. But so sellers and buyers can know what's the telltale signs of a good agent.
Yeah, or a good agent. They're persistent. They answer the phone. They're good at emails. They're consistent. They're on the title work. Got you pre-approved. They're working in the best interest of you. If you're a dual agent representing the buyer and the seller, they're working for both of you. They're not working more for one side than the other. They're communicating both sides. Say, hey, this is my client's offer. Hey, this is the one they accept. You're going back and forth, working in the best interest of both of them.
Yeah. I've never heard that terminology before, dual agent. So are there agents that just work with the sellers? Are there agents that just work with the buyers? So everybody's not the dual agent?
Yeah, a buyer's agent just represents solely the buyer. So a listing agent represents the seller, but a dual agent represents the buyer and the seller in the same transaction. Wow. So both sides. What can be tricky, but yeah.
I'm sure you've been both.
Right.
Well, what is the trickiness in terms of that? They then try and the one side try to pull you more towards them, knowing that you kind of have that.
Some people will. They'll say, hey, I known you for such and such, but it's business at that point. You don't mix business with pleasure. So you have to actually be a businessman. I'm representing, you actually sign a contract. I'm representing the seller. Yeah. I'm representing the buyer. I'm not going to tell the buyer something the seller don't want them to know. I can't tell the seller something the buyer, you know what I'm saying? You have a mutual where you can say, hey, I can do this and that, or X, Y, and Z. You can't just go, oh, okay, they such and such, I know them, they friends. No, you can't do that. It's a boundary, it's a line between it. So.
Got you. What's some of the craziest stories that you've had as a real estate agent that you can share legally?
Man, it's crazy. I have a couple of them. I've climbed through windows.
Windows?
Yeah, windows. Client and I went all the way to Detroit to look at a house. Yeah. Detroit can be a different market depending on what side of town. I like Detroit. I don't want nobody mad. I like Detroit. We went to go show the house. The lockbox code was on there. So I'm scrambling the box. We ready to, go look at the house. Client excited. The key is missing from the box. Call the agent. They don't know who took the key, who the last seen it, what to do.
Wow.
The back window's open. The agent tells me. So what you think I did? I climbed through the back window. Yeah. And you had to show the house. So it's a lot of crazy stuff that go on in real estate. It's crazy.
You're a grinder, bro.
I'm grinding. I grind. Whatever we got to do. If I need to climb a tree, I'm ready.
Man, I respect that.
I'm ready. I keep gym shoes and dress shoes in the car because you just never know. You got to run. What you got to do. So.
Right. Any other story that you can... I got to say, that's crazy. Back through the back window?
Yeah. You got to go through the back window. I had one. I had investment property on the east side of Detroit.
Yeah.
It's different. I'm done with it. I went to be safe. I don't want no more rental properties on the east side of Detroit.
I'm from the east side of Detroit too, so that's
I'm telling you, that's a different breed of human.
I can't wait to get to the next question.
I had well, it wasn't even clients. I had a rental. I went down there to check on it, because the summertime I cut the grass. But then I'm like, hey, nobody's in it. Let me just go. I'm cool. I had boarded the windows.
Right,
and I was gonna rehab it. I go and there's a car in the driveway, it's a barbecue grill in the yard. I'm like, no, ain't nobody living. Nah. Knock on the door. Who is it? No, I know. That wasn't my choice of words. You know what I said. I'm like, no, not here. So I knock on the door, open it. Yeah, what up? I said, well, I own this property. And you inside. Oh, me and my kids in here. Let me put on some clothes. Now I had the oven heating up the house. No furnace, none of that.
Oh, boy.
Comes outside like, yeah, we've been staying here. The neighbor next door told me I can come and move in here because you only come cut the grass in the summer.
Oh.
I said, the neighbor don't own it, and you in here like, oh, I can throw you some. I said, no, I want you out. Man, my kids in here, go on with that. What I really wanted to say with him and the kids, I couldn't say because, you got to still be professional, but it took me about 3 months to get them out. It was just, they didn't show up in court. It was just a process. Then you had to pay a bailiff. It was like $2,000.
Wow.
Just to move a stove and one couch out.
Wow.
I had put new blinds, hardwood floors, cabinets. When I got in there, I had to redo the whole. It was just furnace was missing. Oh, and his dog used it all over the basement. I had to clean up. It was crazy. Left clothes. It was crazy.
If you don't mind me asking, man, what's the estimated amount somebody can expect if they have a situation like that? They have to deal with that. How much can they expect to have to spend just to get that back?
You might not ever get it back.
Really?
If they squatting in this, don't have nothing. You can go, take them to court and then go to court and small claims and garnish the wages. But if they not working, then what you gonna do? So it's just it's hard. And you can call your cousins and go in there, but that's when you put your life involved and it's just get crazy. So
wow. There's no point in me asking.
My rentals will be close. My rentals will be close to me from now on. Oakland County is a little higher, but they'll be where I can ride by at night and just check on them. We'll just say that.
Oakland County is it's two worlds different.
It's two worlds. It's totally worlds different, man. Because they'll live in your house and tell you what you here for. Yeah. I mean, man was chasing my car trying to bust the back window out. It was crazy,
bro. Wow.
You was in my house though.
Yeah. I gotta say, man, that's crazy. I was gonna ask you, which side of the city do you prefer to?
Oh yeah, well, if I get another rental, it'll be the west side, or I got the biggest guard dogs or pit bulls that's gonna live in.
So is it just the environment that's different between the two? Is it the market that's different between the two? Like in terms of east and west, is it the market? Is it just the environment, or is it just overall what you've noticed? Like
this is the overall what I've noticed: the demographics, the mindset.
Man,
I think it's just overall.
Yeah.
Cause I mean, I'm gonna get me wrong. Some east side is cool. Some people like, hey, okay, they good. Some west side ain't too good. Some you let me move it.
Most definitely
put the car in the ground when I run in the store. But it's different. So
man, that's crazy. But if you could go back, if you had to give yourself a piece of advice in terms of in real estate, you had to go back and do it again, man. What's a piece of advice you would tell yourself?
Stay focused. And make sure that the brokerage that you pick is the brokerage for you. A lot of them will be out to get what they're getting. And that might be monthly fees, desk fees, or whatever. But they don't operate in the personal development of you. Of course, you're your business and your own entity. But they don't offer any trainings, hey, you haven't had a sale this month. Hey, what's your goal? Or meeting with staff or have an actual office hub where you can be competitive and say, hey, I'm going to sell 3 houses. You actually being encouraged by yourself at home with a board. So if you're at home drinking every day, you might not get it done. But
right.
Have a brokerage that actually stand behind you and want to see you win that actually done it themselves over my years of experience.
Wow, man. What do you enjoy most about real estate?
The clients and selling homes.
I knew you was going to say
I do. It's the houses. It's the house. I mean, the money is good, but at the end of the day, without the clients, you don't have no money. Yeah. Each client brings something different. Like, I'm still cool with a lot of them. We hang out or we'll call and check in or they'll send referrals. So that's my database. Out of all of my years, I probably advertised once. Everything been business, referral based.
Wow. I got to say, man, it sounds to me like your motivation is money, wealth, family, but your reason for doing everything is people.
People, yeah.
I love that, man. Yeah. That's awesome.
Because the money going to come. The money going to come.
Yeah.
You just got to treat the people right and be around the right people for the money to come.
Facts.
You can sell houses all day, but if you're not around the right people, you ain't going to make nothing.
Yeah.
If you just chasing the money, you're not going to get the clients. Client, a seller, and a buyer want somebody that's working in the best interest of them. They want somebody that's going to navigate and sell and work for them in the best interest. They don't want somebody to just, hey, I'm here, okay, I'm getting this percentage, or this is what I'm making off your house. Thank you for hiring me.
Right.
They want somebody that's going to be there, show up for them, and be there. Like a lot of them have events, invite me to their children events. They want a realtor, a lifelong friend. Some people build just checks. I build relationships.
Yeah.
So it's lifelong. So
man, you probably got some great relationships with people, man.
Yeah, we hang out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the ones I ain't cut off, but yeah.
Was that uncomfortable for you at first?
What?
Having those. Oh, you come from the tax background, but having those relationships with different people and seeing how much they wanted it to be long lasting, and it's not just I sell this and I'm done with it. Was that something you were expecting, or was that something that kind of was a serendipity to what you do?
I wasn't expecting it at all. I was, at first I'm like, okay, I'm going to sell and be a relationship. But when you actually build those relationships, they show up for you and you show up for them. Yeah. It's like, dang, I really like this. Mm-hmm. It's bigger than just a check. You get in and making good money, but at the same time, money going to go. These same people are still in your life. They're like, hey, my aunt looking for a house. They send you the same people back to you, referral after referral, and it just becomes, it's good.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I know we talked about Bynum and Ward, the dancing realtor brand, man. If you don't mind talking about that, what made you want to go ahead and start that, do that, and continue with that? Because I do have to admit this. Seeing you over LinkedIn, when I first saw you, first connected with you, it was because of the videos that you had about dancing after houses that you sold. And after meeting you in person, you really are a grinder. Because I used to see those videos at least 2 or 3 times a week. You know what I'm saying? So the dancing realtor brand, man, talk about that.
I started that because selling a house or closing a house is a big accomplishment, especially in the African-American community. I celebrate that because so many people are renting or comfortable on Section 8. They never grow. So to actually teach it and see people live this and actually get the keys to their own home, it's a celebration. Not a moment you take lightly. We celebrate champagne or your choice of drink, TVs, whatever I have to do to show that we made it. Because a lot of people live without, like you said, just with a business. Faith is something that we got to see when we don't see it. Yeah. A lot of them don't have that. So, celebrating, and my dad always danced. He was always the life of the party. Yeah. I initiated that and added that with it. I like to dance and celebrate life. 90% of the time, you won't see me mad. But when you see me mad, you better just be like, okay, he mad. Yeah. But I like to enjoy life. Life is, you never know when it's going to end. So I like to celebrate life in each moment. I like to be a positive brand. And believe it or not, I get a lot of inboxes on LinkedIn, Facebook say your videos inspired me. Keep dancing. That made my day. Or can you dance to this song? Or hey, can you come to fly out here to Texas and we hang out? I built a lot of relationships just off of that, and that video making somebody's day. So yeah. It's my brand. I enjoy it. Like,
man, what made you just the dancing in general? Was that something you learned from having that marketing background? Did you just wanted to distinguish yourself from everybody else?
I always was dancing. Yeah. When I was younger, I would dance. I just get out and dance and park the car and just dance. Yeah. Like, hey, let me incorporate this with real estate. Because once we close, you see people that close, they get a gift, they don't hear from a realtor, or they just go to a closing table, that's it. I want mine to be a lifelong relationship because these are people now. You built a relationship that can always be a part of your life, your business, and your culture. Yeah. You celebrate it, they'll send other people. It's about breaking the cycle, breaking the chain. You just stop at one, they say, hey, y'all forgot about me. So the dancing is something that we'll always remember. It's always on social media, and it's me, my brand. Wherever I go, we're going to dance. If it's out of state, wherever. Countertops, couches, whatever we need to do. We doing it, front porches. So
yeah. Man, I respect that. And I got to say, even if that wasn't a marketing switch, that was genius. Sad, nobody does that.
I get that a lot. Now that you said it and a couple of people said it past year, I'm like, that was genius. I never thought of making it a brand. A lot of people like, 100%. Hey, and believe it or not, my clients now, when we close, they say, hey,
dance.
What we dance? Yeah, you didn't give me my dance. They'll get mad like, oh, no, that's part of the brand. I want my dance. Yeah. They say, you getting in it or no? No, I want you to do it or I'm getting in it. But they look forward to it. They're like, I came to you because I want to dance. Yeah. I'm like, all right, here we go. Yeah. Some days my legs don't be right, but I got to do it. So.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I respect that, man. Great book. I'm not sure if you read it. Contagious by Jonah Berger. Okay, it's a phenomenal book. It talks about why things catch on. Okay. It's a marketing book, and man, it's phenomenal. Just in the stories that it explain. But that's why I say that dancing is genius. Like, truthfully.
You.
But so I can understand, is the Dancing Realtor separate from Bynum & Ward? Is that your company? Is that
Bynum & Ward is the company I worked at years ago.
Okay.
I've left there. I've worked at a couple of brokerages, but they don't work for me. You have to figure out what works for you.
Got you.
I have some couple of things in the work now.
Yeah.
But I'm at Powell Real Estate now in Birmingham. It's pretty good, but it was never associated with there or any of the brokerages. It was just me personally in the brand that I want to represent. Yeah. As the dancing realtor brand, like Georgia is the traveling dancing realtor. Yeah. If I'm flying down showing houses closing, you got to add something for, it's just like Slutty Vegan. You going to try the food. You going down there to buy a house. So, yeah, it's just attached to me. That's my brand.
Nice, man. I'm going to ask you a few questions off the cuff before we get out of here. But in terms of what advice would you give to a young man today looking to find himself, looking to find his purpose, looking to find why he's here? What advice would you give to that guy?
To believe in himself. That's number one. For two, don't look at what mom or daddy or nobody said that you're supposed to be. Look at what you want to be. Don't do what people want you to do. Be unapologetically yourself. Yeah. When you're yourself, things flourish. Also have faith and believe in God. That's how I get through it. I have to have a relationship with God. That's my foundation. And the faith is the things that I can't see yet. Yeah. So for any young man, you don't have to be like nobody else. I would say to just keep grinding and know what you want to. Well, you'll figure out what you want to do when you keep grinding. You're going to have to try many things out. You're not going to know right off. You just got to believe. It's something like figure out what you want, what you like to do. Something that doesn't feel like a check. Like real estate and taxes don't feel like a check. It's actually become a part of me. Wow. People call and say, hey, I already know what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, I got to go to work. Yeah. I enjoy what I do. So when you find something that you enjoy that you do and you can be set apart from people, then that's what you need to do. That's your passion. Something you can work for free. Because there's a lot of young men that's just lost. They don't know what they want. Facts. And that's because they're listening to everybody else. They're trying to satisfy somebody in a younger relationship. Or they're just trying to be like somebody else. Be uniquely you. Yeah. Once you be yourself, everything else unfold. Yeah. You'll figure out who you are. It'll take a little time, but you'll figure out who you are. Yeah.
Somebody looking to get into entrepreneurship and is right now right on the fence with it. I want to do it. I'm not sure how to do it. What advice would you give to that person?
Study the field you want to do. Study what you're going into. So if you want to open a food truck, make sure you budget and creating a budget for the truck. Most importantly, a business plan. Make sure your name that you want is not registered. You know, www.irs.gov register. Educate yourself if you want a LLC or sole proprietorship. Make sure you know these things. The tax brackets, what you're going to be paying, how much supply is going to be. If you're going to do hamburgers and hot dogs, you need to know what's the going rate for them. So you know how to properly price your list out. Say, hey, I'm going to charge $3 for hot dogs. So you're not overpricing. Also factor in gas. Always budget and do a business plan. Yeah. Make sure that's what you want to do. And have a vision. You got the vision, make it plain, write it down, write your goals down, the steps you need to get there. Take baby steps. Yeah. You got to be pregnant with it for a minute before you birth it, but always take baby steps. And don't listen to people. Don't tell nobody your vision. You tell people they'll stop you. Because they didn't do it. They say, they ain't going to work. Or, how you going to find a truck? But what you going to drive? It's always something. So it's always stay persistent. Know that you got this. Know that God got you. And step out on faith. Because if you don't, you're going to always be like, well, I wanted to do, or in 10 years I'm going to do. Write your plan. Yeah. Say in 1 year I'm going to do X, Y, and Z and start executing. Start today. Yeah. Use that job to get you into what you're doing. A lot of people just work and say, hey, I don't have the money. Your bank account will never match your dream.
Facts.
Wow. It will never match it. You sit here, you can work 100, overtime. They're taking more taxes. Yeah. The more money you make, they're taking out. Yeah. So you have to start somewhere. Start putting money up. Start somewhere to get that business started. Once you start, then it start, okay, let me go to the next step. I got the business plan. Let me register the name. Let me open the business account. Let me start looking around my locations, how much I can afford in rent. Once you start those small steps, you can start seeing your growth.
What advice would you give to an entrepreneur who needs to stay afloat right now?
Keep going. That's not because it's hard. Even me, some days people say, how do you have bad days? People think you're always on top. Entrepreneurship is just like it's a roller coaster. Yeah. It might be down one day at Cedar Point, and then one day it might just be operating. It's just an up and down, but you have to stay the course. But in each season of that, learn that season. Just because you're down and you don't make nothing for a month, see what that's teaching you, because it's teaching you something. It's teaching you may be like, okay, I'm down. But maybe when you were up, you wasn't even saying, okay, thank you, God, I got this. Or, dang, my faith has showed me. Or you lose sight of your vision. So once you just, on that downtime, don't say, God, why is this happening to me? Say, what is this teaching me? Yeah. Once you go into that mindset, you're like, dang, last month when I was spending, I bought everybody drinks. Yeah. I was buying gifts. Yeah. I was just out here eating every day. I ain't meal prep. I ain't been to the gym. Yeah. Or it might be just to slow down. Because sometimes we'll just keep going like the Energizer Bunny, like, hey, like the hamster on the wheel, to where it's like your body going to make you sit down. So once you slow down in that, take that moment, be like, dang. Then when you pick back up, be like, okay. Yeah. This taught me that I need to just take a break for me, or I'm doing something wrong, or I needed to pay my taxes, so when I do get the bigger money, I already done start account for this, because you making the money, you ain't saving it. Then here come Uncle Sam. Oh, boom. Yeah. You gotta properly prepare. So just keep going.
How do you go ahead?
Because it's always gonna be up and down. Yeah. Some weeks you gonna have money, some weeks you not. Just keep going.
2 questions. When you're going through that down slope, how do you keep your mind mentally sharp and focused on, okay, I can get through this?
I work out. I work out every day. I try to go at 5:30 in the morning. It's not always easy. 5 or 5:30. Yeah. And I don't forget my why. My God kids is my why. My parent is my why. And my siblings is my why. Wow. So if you lose sight of why you're doing it, you won't stay afloat. If you say, hey, my mom's 78, if they stop the insurance, you got money to help her out. Yeah. Boom. If I stop now, then hey, if she need me, I got to put her in a home. They're not gonna care for her like I do. Yeah. Boom. My family's still working a job because their faith is not big as mine to step out. So I got to keep going. Yeah. Always remember your why, so that you be like, okay, nah, it's just a down moment. Let me pump some iron. Let me run on the treadmill. Let me jog to clear your mind. Also read. When you read, you stay focused. You gotta stay. I don't know how to say this, but stay away from the people that's in the same place they was last year. Because you can be around them and you try to tell them, oh, I'm going through a hard time. Or what's wrong? You tell them and they don't understand. It's like, dang, I'm not going to tell you my money is low this month or I ain't close. But just motivate me. They're like, oh, no. Or they make it about them like, dang, what's wrong? You be like, man, I'm just life it. I'm just going through it. Oh, well, don't worry about it, this and that. You want... No, they don't understand. So I'm telling you, don't, because they're in the same place. And if you get comfortable with that, you're going to be in the same place that you are. You're going to be like, okay, 1 month turn into 2, 2 to 3. Like, it's who I'm hanging around. You got to move. Yeah. I'm telling you got to move.
I'm speechless for a good reason, man. I've seen that in my own life. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Moving on to the next question. By the way, thanks for that, because that was huge. Somebody needed that. Yeah. When you're going through the up, how do you not have an overinflated sense of self-ego, self-worth?
Because you always have to keep in mind that what you gain, you can lose. You can always be at the 1 week, like today, I can be up here. I'm winning, doing podcasts, shooting movies, I'm doing everything. 2 weeks from now, God might sit me down, some lesson I may need to teach, or it may be my health or family health, or he may take somebody out your life. You got to always remember how to keep going. So you always have to be like, hey, I started from the bottom. I'm here. But don't forget I'm at the top. I can go back at the bottom. So I'm always humble, because people teach you each day. If you stay around people and pay attention to them, they'll teach you. So you being here today, you see that man out there, be like, oh, okay, he hungry. Buy him something to eat. Because that next week it could be you. You don't know how finances take. Might be your car. But we in the mindset of, oh, I'm here. You never there. Success is rented. The rent due every day. Yeah. So if you don't pay that rent that day, you'll be right down there with that man. That might be the same man that you need to feed you. And it's not always about money. It might be that man just telling you to hold on. But you laugh at him like, oh, I ain't buying nothing to eat. That's his choice. You don't know what life had threw at him for him to be on this street. So if you do your due diligence, God might use him. That next week be like, here, I'm going to buy you a piece, or here go $100,000. I'm going to help you out. So you always, don't never let your ego get him. Don't never. Always stay humble.
Go ahead.
Always stay humble.
Yeah. How important is generosity to you?
It's important. It's number one factor in my life. Because if you generous with somebody, one day, me coming in here, if I would have came here with a negative atmosphere, that might have changed the whole place. Yeah. But me coming in here being who I am and being positive, you don't know who's going through something secretly that smile might have changed their life. Yeah. You just opening the door. You just saying, you look nice today. I appreciate this. It don't take us nothing. It's free.
Facts.
It's free.
Yeah.
It's free. So generosity is very important because you just never know who. Somebody might be like, I'm going to hang myself tonight. You just never know who you can help because entrepreneurship is a roller coaster. Dealing with family is a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Working a job is a roller coaster.
Yep.
Just trying to survive now is a roller coaster. So just being generous to people, it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Especially to me, because some days I be like, hey, I might be in my mood in the car. I'm just listening to gospel or whatever music. Somebody just might be like, I'm patient there. How you doing? You look nice. That keep me going. Keep going. Just something that little can change your whole dynamic of the.
Yeah. Is that something you had to learn, or was that something that was ingrained in you, parents, things like that?
I've always been generous because I've always learned at a young age to be generous because me growing up, I had a lot of people that I grew up with that didn't have a parent, that didn't grow up with two parents. But for me, it took me, I'm like, why did I have older parents? But it taught me to, God do things differently. So it always taught me to be generous. Just like if I treat my parent like my mother, opening the door to their birthday, you do little stuff. You're always generous to people because you don't know what that do to make them feel inside. Yeah, being generous can open a whole lot of doors for you that being mean can't. Yeah, you just being generous. Straight you might facts. Be talking to the janitor here. He might be mopping the floor, but that man might own the place. Facts. He might just be in a different position that day because he don't have enough help. Facts. You just don't being generous can open the door and say, "Hey, partner with me. I need some help." Yeah. So being generous will open doors that being mean can't. That's crucial, man. Someone in real estate that's on the verge right now of giving up, and they've gone through some of the worst seasons, and they feel like this isn't for them, but they have just a little bit inside of them that's telling them, "Hey, I should keep going." What would be your advice to that person? How could they get out of that situation? Listen to that voice. Keep going. Work harder. Whatever it is that you feel like you need to do it. If that's more cold calling, if that's calling every day, if you got to get up earlier, if you got to walk to the gym and pass out business cards, just never quit on you. Never quit on you because it's so easy. Even me, you say, oh, he's established, he's just so successful. Some days I'm like, why did I even get in real estate? A deal will fall, it just crumble down. Nobody's exempt from feelings. So you got to keep going because if you don't, then why did you even start? Wow. It's not going to always be a walk in the park. Especially real estate, it's up and down. Yeah. You might be here today, you might get a certain amount, be like, I don't want to work with you no more. You got to keep going. That's just not your person. Wow. It's someone looking to get into real estate that's on that verge. Same question I asked when about the entrepreneurship. What would be your advice to them? Study. And don't let one failure of the test stop you. Because a lot of people fail 5 or 6 times. Don't let that stop you. Always stay focused on why you're getting in it. If you're just getting in it for the money, then you might not be as successful. But if you're getting in it for the people, for actually saving, investing the wealth, then go ahead and do it. But never let it stop you. Always stay up to date on it. Stay focused, and you won't know until you actually try it. They can teach you. You can get the millionaire books of real estate. You can do everything all day, but you have to learn on your own. So you do that first deal and actually get out there, that's when you're going to actually learn. Wow. People in our community that look like me and you that's looking to get into entrepreneurship and real estate, what can they expect? Failure. You're going to fail. It's going to be failure. It's going to be days you're going to want to quit, but you have to keep going. In order for you to win, you have to see yourself winning, not the failure that's around you. Because a lot of times you'll see the cost of inventory. You're like, I'm going to close the restaurant. No, why did you start the restaurant? It's just not your clientele. You just have to remain focused. Getting into entrepreneurship is a mindset. You have to switch that. It's different than a job. A lot of people fail at that because they used to working a job. It's the hamster wheel. Hey, I'm making $700 or $20,000, whatever they making every week to pay the bill. They're comfortable. Yeah. But when you get an entrepreneur, you might make 15. You make 10. Yeah. They make nothing. But it's about budgeting and why you're getting started. It's not easy. Working a job not easy. So you have to pick it. You have to just keep going at it. So if my advice to them is to keep going, stay focused, and never quit. Never quit. It's easy to quit. There's many days I want to quit. Like, I don't want to write. Why am I write? Oh, I ain't get this many sales, or it ain't streamed this long. But if I quit that, then I'm going to stop my own potential, my passion and purpose that God gave me because of what? Few views I didn't get, or, hey, I don't feel like it. Feelings are temporary. Yeah. But if you're working towards your future, you're going to keep going. You're going to grind it out. Yeah. Out of all the motivational speakers and successful people, it didn't happen overnight. Look at Oprah. Look at Jay-Z.
Facts.
Look at Jennifer Hudson.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Fantasia.
Yeah.
You got to lose to win again.
Mm-hmm.
That's just life.
Mm-hmm. People that look like us growing up, teenagers, young people, they feel like I have an idea of what I want to do, but the people around me don't see it the way I see it. It's tough. I'm struggling. I'm trying my hardest to get out of the circumstance that I'm in. What would be your advice to them?
Try to be around like-minded people.
How could they put themselves around like-minded people?
Try to read. Try to research. Reading. Putting themselves in the right room. Say if they're going out every weekend or to the mall. Try to change that. Go to the library. Go to the tutoring groups. Go to something that'll grow you. It's a lot of stuff online. We have so many outlets at our fingertips that we didn't have growing up that they have. Google. You can find stuff on Eventbrite. Just find something to put you in a different mood. Because if you stay where the people not understanding and they're not grasping and they're older than you, it can jump on you. So when you redirect your mind and your energy, you'll be like, okay, it's time for me to grow. When you get in a room with different people, you be again to see the vision. So the naysayers, you're like, no, I'm going to believe in me. I can do this. It's important. You have to be in that. Not even teenagers, adults. You have to be around people that want to grow. Some people confident. We're complaining. Oh, I ain't got enough money. I just put all this on the bill. What are you going to do to change it? Oh, well, I started a business 5 years ago, but it ain't my people ain't support. Go around new people. You got to grow. Go out here and take a picture of the road. Do something different. Sell them. There's so many ways you can make money nowadays. But it have to be in you. Nobody can give it to you. The hustle have to be in you. It's sold separately. You can buy the toy off the shelf, but the hustle sold separately. You got to go. So
these are the last 4 questions, man. I know you gotta get out of here. But what's next for you?
I see myself releasing these books, being the next top-selling author. I see myself on stage. See myself for motivational speaking. I see myself in a bigger aspect in 2024 than any other year. I see myself traveling the world. I see myself just doing a lot of things that I were afraid to do or that I failed at and I quit, that I'm picking back up and I'm going to chase. Because I feel like just because I know I did it, a lot of people don't know in the background. Me being an entrepreneur, I put stuff down or to the side and say, hey, I'm going to put it to the side. This just didn't work out. But I got distracted by looking at what it looks like or me focusing on this and focusing on that. Like, no, God didn't give you that vision or give you that idea for you to lay it down. So some things I'm going to pick back up and I'm taking off. So
I respect that.
I'm going to be out here.
Yeah. Good luck, man. Well wishes, truthfully.
Thank you.
I can't wait to read whatever book
that
you didn't want to tell me about.
I can't wait. I'm ready.
But yeah, man, the last 3 questions is rapid fire. Did you enjoy today's conversation?
I did. I really did. I did.
Nice, man. Is there anyone in your life who you could see on this podcast?
I had a few people.
Yeah.
I got to see if I'm going to like them next week, but yeah, I got a few. No, but yeah, I got a few that this would be, I got a few.
Could you help us get them on?
Oh, I could. Yeah.
All right, man. I appreciate
that. I
that.
get a feed. No, I'm just kidding. That's that entrepreneur, man. Like, look, we'll talk after the show.
Yeah, that's that you climbing through the back window talk, man. But yeah, man. Truthfully, man, it's been a pleasure. I appreciate you for coming out.
It's a pleasure.
Man.
Thanks for
inviting.
Truthfully,
truthfully,
I appreciate it. Great, man. But
Nah, you good, man.